Good afternoon. If I can get a quick sound check, if someone can let me know whether or not you guys can.
I can hear you, Dawn.
Awesome. Thank you. And can you see my screen, the Clarity and Canvas screen?
I can see the screen.
Yay. All right. Super. All right. It is 1 o'clock by my watch, and I want to go ahead and get started today. So let's just talk a little bit about clarity in Canvas. So when we think about clarity, um, you know, or we think about instruction, I think about how important it is to have clear instruction, and particularly in a remote environment. So our targets for today is that we understand the importance of clear instruction, and we're going to spend a few minutes on that because I think it's really important. And what I'm seeing is sometimes there's this assumption, and we'll talk about that fallacy. There's this assumption that people know what it is we're talking about because we know what we're talking about. And then also, I will be talking about how to create and embed audio directions using the Canvas recorder tool, how to create and embed video using the Canvas tool, and how to create and embed the video using the Loom recording tool in some cases when the Canvas recording tool isn't quite enough. And so we'll talk about all those scenarios today. So I want you to think about this or imagine yourself here. Maybe this has never happened to you, but it has definitely happened to me. You gave your students this awesome assignment, right? And you get back all of their responses or their work products, and it is so from what you intended that you're wondering, where was the disconnect? What were they thinking? And why is it that they didn't get what it was that I wanted them to do? So what I want us to do is just to take a minute, and as we think about that previous scenario, I want us to reflect on ourselves. I want you to reflect on if you've ever bought something that came with confusing instructions. Okay. Have you ever maybe asked someone for directions? They assure you it's so easy to get to, you couldn't miss it, right? Have you ever tried maybe to follow those directions that someone gave you and you completely missed the boat altogether? So there's this professor by the name of Dr. Edgar Gale who noted that there was some similarity between giving poor instructions or bad directions and where students are lost, right? So when we think about um, as we continue to teach students, sometimes we have this assumption that they know exactly what we're talking about. And so he's coined this term, clear only if known. And he got an acronym for it, COIF, clear only if known. Because when we think about it, it's really easy to get to a place that you're talking about if you already know how to get there. So the COIK fallacy, what is that? It's when we understand what it is that we're trying to say, and we assume that our listeners or our readers understand it too. So here's an example of, here's a wart bottle, and it wasn't exactly this wart bottle, but on the back there were some instructions, and the instructions said, do not use if you cannot see clearly to read the information. So when I read those instructions, the first thing I think is, what were they thinking? But in their mind, it was very clear. So that's an example of the COIK, or clear only if known fallacy, right? Okay, it's really clear if you know what they mean. It's clear how to get there if you already know the location, but it's not clear if you don't. So I think sometimes as teachers, we are very surprised to discover just how much giving clear instructions to students can affect that student's success, right? So when we give really effective directions, students can engage with whatever content it is we want them to engage with and they are more effective, and they ultimately have more productive experiences and more positive experiences. So in the remote environment, I want you to think about the environment we are in today. If we're giving clear instructions, that is so important, because now we're not in the same time and space as our students. And even sometimes on Zoom, if we're in the same time, it's hard to figure out if they're confused or not, because sometimes we miss those social cues, or their camera's not on, or all of those other things. So it's not always easy to gauge when students are confused, which is why it's so critical now to make sure that our instructions are simple and they're clear, and that our expectations are always well laid out. So I'm gonna, just in case you need more proof why clarity is so important, there were some super important, super talented, super smart researchers named Hind, Cruikshank, and Kennedy, who found a link between teacher clarity and student achievement, and actually their satisfaction and their positive feelings about a class, because they didn't feel lost or confused. So teacher clarity and student achievement. So we know that clarity is super important. So they came up with, there were these 12 instructional uh, strategies that you should use. And we're not going to go all over all of those today, because that's not what we're here for. But I do want to point out a few of them. Using relevant examples during an explanation, reviewing the material, doing step-by-step, providing students with sufficient examples of how to do the work, and then, of course, informing the students of the objective, giving them the bigger picture, right? So setting the context. A lot of times that's really important, so they understand what it is that you're working. And really avoiding the clear only if known fallacy, right? Not assuming that students know what we're talking about, but making sure we're very explicit. So I have a couple of real world examples that I'm going to share with you. The first one on the left-hand side, and I don't know if you can read it, so I'll read it to you. On the screen of the phone that's circled, it says, to activate your phone, follow the instructions included with your new phone. Okay, seems simple enough. And then when you go to the instructions included with the phone, it says, turn on your new phone and follow the on-screen instructions, right? So once again, those instructions aren't really helpful. And so how successful do you think the individual who's trying to set up their phone might be if that's all they have for support? Likewise, and I don't know how many of you are IKEA fans, I am, and I have seen, even if it's not IKEA, I'm sure you've seen some instructions that look a little like this. And this one actually isn't too bad. But when you think about it, sometimes you're not sure whether something's facing out, whether it's in, whether, it's in. And I always think about the time where they tell you at the very end, don't forget, you shouldn't have tightened the screws, and it's too late because you already did. And now you have to go back because there's something you need to insert. Those are all the things that clear instructions make a difference, right? So something with just an image and no text or context might not be really helpful. And I'm not exactly sure what happened with the DiGiorno pizza and cookies. Clearly there was a disconnect, or maybe that's really what they wanted. But to me, it looks like there may have been a disconnect on how to prepare the pizza and the cookies. All right, so we're going to jump into now what it is that we're going to be talking about today, right? So we talked about the importance of those clear directions. Now we're going to talk about how to leverage audio and video in Canvas to make sure that your message is clear and that students are successful. So before we jump to Canvas, what we're going to do is talk about the power of YouTube, all right? Now, we're not going to be using YouTube today. And the only reason I mention this because I had a conversation with my mother, and I'm going to stay on topic. I really am, but I think this is important because she was telling me that she had to fix the flange on her toilet. Now, I don't know what the flange on a toilet is. And quite honestly, I didn't think she did either because she's not a plumber, nor has she ever studied plumbing. So I asked her, Mom, what are you doing? And she says to me, I saw it on YouTube, therefore I know what I'm doing. So I reflected a little bit on that and I thought to myself, I'll probably never try to fix the toilet from YouTube, but I did actually install an outdoor ceiling fan from a YouTube video. So why are we even talking about what I learned on YouTube or what my mother learned on YouTube? Because video can be our secret sauce, right? When we think about it, this is something that we can use to clarify with and make sure that students understand what it is that they're supposed to do. Think about how many things that we do and we're successful with simply by someone modeling and showing or using a video to help us understand. So now I think we've established the why, or at least I hope so. And we're now going to put it into practice. So I'm going to pop into my Canvas biology course, and we're going to take a look at some of my pages and evaluate what, if anything, needs to be done to make things a bit more clear and to make sure my students are successful. And we'll come right back to that page, and we're going to pop into our Canvas. All right, here. Can everybody see my Canvas page? If you'll give me a thumbs up or a quick in the chat letting me know you can see Canvas. Super, super. Thank you, Anna. All right. So here is my module. And I'm going to do this from the instructor view just because I want to make sure that we can go in and make some edits. There is one that I'll have to go into student view for. All right. So we're going to pop right into our first page here. And there it is. Wonderful. There's my first page. So the first thing I'm going to ask you, and this is what I ask whenever I look at a Canvas module, I go in and I say, okay, I'm on a page. And the first thing I say is, what is the student supposed to do? So tell me, what is the student supposed to do? I want you to put it in the chat. So someone says, watch the video. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Foster. Ms. Parnell says they're going to watch the video. Somebody says, click the play button and watch the video. All right. So I'm going to ask you this next question. They're going to watch the video. All right, super. When you go into your classroom and you're going to play a video, do you just push play, walk in and just push play, or do you say something before you push play? Oh, Mr. Foster says you say something first. Okay, so some of the things we might say before yep. Several of you saying that. You might say something first. So the first thing I want you to think about, introduce the video and the expectations. Thank you, Stephanie. Yes, what is it that we're getting ready to watch? What is it that I want you to do? The description of the video, perfect. You might even model before the video. If there's something specific that you want them to do with the video, you're gonna tell them what you want them to get out of the video, right? So all of those things are going to happen. So if I look at that page and I'm a student, the expectations of the teacher may not be clear here. It might be a graphic organizer to take notes with the video. I might demonstrate how to do that. But right now, all I have on this page is a video, and students are going to click the play button, and they may not get what I want for them to get out of it. So how can I fix that? I've got to get clear instructions. So we're actually going to use audio here. Now, I could just put in text what I want them to do, but because we're talking about leveraging audio, video, and Loom, I want to actually use those for our examples. Because we already have a video here, I am actually going to use an audio file, okay? So now, yes, you can go to external audio files and create one and pull them in, but why do that when you have Canvas and there's already an embedded tool? Okay, so we're going to simply go right into our assignment, and I look at it and I think, gosh, this needs more. So I'm going to go right up here and I'm going to zoom in. So right here it says record and upload media. Right, I'm clicking on the record and upload media button. Let's bring that back to regular size there. I don't want a video. That's not what I want. So I'm actually going to disable my webcam and say no video. All I want is an audio recording. So you can see that my microphone is picking up my voice. So it's ready. I just start talking. All right, so I'm not even sure what we're going to do with this video, but we're going to say something and wait for the countdown to come up with something ingenious. All right, guys, this is what I need for you to do. I want you to watch this video. As you're watching the video, what I want you to make note of is the vocabulary that we talked about yesterday, about when we talked of patterns of inheritance and when we talked about Gregor Mendel. I want you to also make note of that Punnett square. Take a look at what he does with the Punnett square. What do you notice? So let's just say that's what I'm going to say. And that's it, really. I can play it and listen to it, but I really don't want to listen to myself. I don't want to start over. I'm really done. All I wanted to do is say something like I were in the classroom. I save it. I'm not even going to name it. I save my page, and right there on the page, now I have directions. Now, I might also put right above that, click to play if you feel like your kids aren't used to that, or click for directions or something of that nature. You can add some text right there, but I'm just going to play that. All right, guys, this is what I need for you to do. I want you to watch this video. As you're watching the video, and so I simply play, and there are my directions, and now we have, it's really clear what students are supposed to do. So do you feel, after we've added the audio directions there, that what it is that students are supposed to do with the video becomes more clear? Sure, absolutely. So let's think about that, and more meaningful. Thank you, Ms. Parnell. So now we have this page with a lot of text. Okay, so I'm moving on and I'm going next, just like we taught them to do on Canvas. So I've got this page, it's got a lot of text on it. What are students supposed to do here? Tell me. Beautiful article. Mr. Foster says, oh no. Ms. Parnell says, maybe they're going to read it, not skim the text, read, but maybe there needs to be some directions in a graphic organizer. So the assumption, clear only if known. Oh, Ms. Davaya says they're going to annotate. Are we? Did it say that? Do they know that? How do we know, and how does the student know? Remember, it's not just our students, it's our students, it's our caregivers, it's our parents. They have no idea what the kids are supposed to do with that. Now, yes, there's an assumption they're supposed to read it, but when we give students a piece of paper and we say, read this article, we don't just simply hand it to them. We talk to them first, right? We tell them what it is we want to do, just like we do with video. So because there's a lot of text on this page, and because I just used an audio file before, and maybe sometimes I'll use text, this time I'm going to use a video. So we are simply going to go to the next page because I want to fix it there. And also, as I'm going to the next page, I want you to think about our English language learners. I want you to think about our students who need additional support. When we just have text on a page, or when information is not clear, we think about equity, right? And we think maybe there are students who don't have parents at home that can help them decipher what the teacher means. This makes all of our students have access to that same instruction. Okay, so I'm going to edit. And just like we did before, it's super, super easy. All I'm going to do is go right up to my record and upload media button. There it is. Click on it. And this time I actually want them to see me. Now, why would you want your students to see your face? Now, you might say, I don't look good on video. I really hate the way I look on the camera. But sometimes it's really important for our students to see our face. Why? Yes, Mr. Foster, it personalizes the learning. They know me. And some of them don't really know us face to face, right? Some of our students have never really physically met us before. They might be the online courses. Yes, clear and precise directions we're able to give. We can emphasize, boys and girls, do not forget this part. It's hard to come across in text that way, right? So that said, we're actually going to do a recording. So I got to remember my camera's over here. I'm working with a couple different screens here. So here we go. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to read this article about Gregor Mendel. And as you read the article, make sure to take note of his understanding of genetics. What is it that he knew about genetics? And then I also want you to note how he worked with his pea plants. What was it he did with his pea plants? And then what did he learn about the relationships that genetics had with his pea plant growth? I just made something up, guys. Doesn't really matter. The point is, right now, I have this video, which I could go and look at, but I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna stick it up there for our students. Hope my cursor was in the right place. Yep, it was. Okay, so there it is, right at the top of my screen. Now I might put my click to play at the top. I save it, and now my students now have directions on exactly what it is that I want them to do with this article. If I wanted them to annotate, I could put that there. If I were going to have them annotate and I wanted to have model that for them, I might actually do what we're going to do on the next screen. So any questions about audio or video using the Canvas tool before we move on to our last tool? Okay.
I might have a quick question, Dr. Ramsey, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Sure. I noticed how you what you're doing, how recording on there.
Mhm.
Like, could we use that same technology to like we can use that same technology, like for example, put that on a Google Sheet too, right?
You could, actually, you could.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, anytime you see that upload, now this is inside Canvas, right? So you could do it if you've got something and you've got a Google Sheet or something like that. But remember, this is actually, I'm using the Canvas recording tools. So I'm actually got to be inside Canvas for that. That was a good question.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, so we're going to move on to our next page. And our next page is I have an assignment for them. And guys, I see this a lot. I see an assignment and it's embedded and it's beautiful and it's from CK12. And I actually am going to pop out because I want you to see the student view of this because I love CK12. I mean, I really do. I think everybody should love it, but maybe everybody doesn't. And let's go to student view. And I'm going to go pop into my module. And I'm going to go right to that assignment. Okay, so here I have this assignment in CK12. Student goes here. Beautiful assignment, packaged nicely. But guess what? What is it they're supposed to do? And really, guys, I promise you that every time I go to a Canvas page, the first thing I say is, what is it the student is supposed to do? Sometimes it's written right there in plain English. Sometimes it's not. And I see sometimes that there's this assumption, and remember, clear only if known. We know what they're supposed to do, but do our students know what they're supposed to do? Is that explicit, right? So here we have this wonderful assignment. I'm not really sure. So if you take a second and look at that, what is it the student's supposed to do? Just at first glance. And I think one of the things that I often say as you guys are thinking about that and processing it is that we don't ever want students to question, right? We want it to be really clear at the very top what students are supposed to, can't tell. Drag and drop, not sure. All right, so we're not sure. Well, if we're not sure, our students are not sure either, okay? So this is what I did. I'm gonna actually show you what I did and we're gonna go back and show you how I did it. So I'm gonna get out of the student view and we're going to go to the next page, which has a modified, there was some, Ms. Parnell says, yeah, there were some directions there around the bullet points, but we're really not sure what they're supposed to do. We want our students to be successful. They can't be successful unless they know what it is that we want from them. As I'm playing the audio, were you able to hear my audio? The previous audio I recorded? I'll make sure you can hear audio. Hopefully you can. And, yep, perfect. All right, so here is the video that now goes with that assignment. Okay, guys. So the whole purpose of this video is to show you exactly what it is that I want you to do. So the first thing is that we've been talking about Mendelian inheritance and non-Mendelian inheritance. And so this section over here to the left reminds you a little bit about phenotype and physical characteristics and the codominance and the incomplete dominance. And that's what you're going to demonstrate your understanding of today with this activity. I am going to model using this first column, and then what I want you to do is continue in the same vein for the second and third columns. In the first column, I see a brown dog, I see a brown dog that has white spots, and I see a white dog.
So I'm thinking there's a brown dog, there's a white dog, and then I have a dog that shows both of those characteristics. So in my mind, because both of them are being shown, I think this is an example of codominance. So I am going to take this red circle and I'm going to drag it into the red ring. That is my answer for the first one. You will do that and you will follow suit with the second and third. But you're not done yet. What I then want you to do is go over to the button on the left that says challenge me. Okay? And then you're going to click that button. And there are 5 questions that I want you to answer and submit. All right, boys.
Okay, so you've got enough of that. The idea is, now do you feel like students, when they get to that page, will be clear on what it is they're supposed to do from the very beginning, and that the quality of work I get from my students is going to be higher, and the students are going to be more successful than they would have been with the first assignment. And as you're thinking through that and answering that, I am actually going to pop us right out to Loom, and I'm going to put the word Loom in the chat because I want to make sure everybody knows where it is that I'm going. Okay, so Loom is an extension, and in this case, the Canvas recording would simply not have been enough. So what I am going to do is use Loom for my recording. So if it's an extension, the top right-hand corner, I actually have a Loom icon. You can also go to loom.com and you can actually download. There's a desktop version. It is free. There isn't a limit in time, and there might be some other things you can do with a paid version, but it is really free in terms of no limits. And then also the other piece to think of with this is that you can trim. So if you make a mistake, that's okay. You can cut it out and keep on going. So that's wonderful because I rarely ever re-record with Loom. Because I can just start over within the same recording and just cut out the part that I don't like. All right, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna just use this page and show you how to embed this inside Canvas. So I've got this page. I am going to begin recording. So I'm gonna go up to my Loom, and it gives me very similar to Screencastify, and I know many of you have used that, just in case you haven't used Loom before. And you can see my microphone, and it's going to I tell it what I want to record. And the other thing I like about Loom is in the bottom left-hand corner, there is a picture of me. Now, I left it in the other one if I don't like it. If you hover over, there is an X that appears, usually. And sometimes it's pretty light, but there is an X that appears, and I'm looking for it because I don't see it. And I think I got rid of my... Oops, I shouldn't have done that. Sorry, guys. So there's an X that appears, and you can actually turn off that camera. See, here it is. There's the X. All right, so I can turn that off if I say I don't want the camera. But if I keep the camera, I can move that camera to wherever I want. I can also resize that camera, make it bigger or smaller, depending on what I want. Okay, that's really large. So we're gonna make it smaller, and we're just gonna move it down over here. So depending on what's on your page, that might depend on where you put your video. All right, so we're just gonna start recording. So I'm gonna push start. It's gonna give us that countdown. Oh, first gonna ask us what we're recording. I'm just gonna record the screen. And it's gonna give us our countdown, blah, blah, blah. And then we say a couple of things. We record, show them what we want to show them. Everybody's super successful. I can hide this stuff if I want to, just using this button. Hide the menu, open the menu. And then when I'm done, this green check box. And now I have my video. Okay, all right, so here's our video. Now, how do I get it in Canvas? All I'm gonna do is go to this share icon, click on share, and I'm gonna use the embed code. When you click on embed, it copies that code. I'm gonna go right back over here into my Canvas course, edit, whether it's an assignment or page or whatever. And if I were doing that annotation, Ms. Devalle, I would go ahead and maybe show myself annotating that text on the screen. And I am going to take my embed code. Now, how do I get that embed code in there? Right here, it says insert or edit media. We're going to insert the media, and it's asking for my embed code right here. So it was on general. I click on embed, and I say, paste it right in there. And okay, now this one's going to be big because I didn't resize it, but that's okay. There now is my video of me telling them what to do, and then whatever else is below it, and I simply save it. Okay. And it's just that simple. But think about how much more clear it will be for your students if you've modeled it, if you've shown them what it is that you want them to do, if you've talked to them and explained to them maybe the pitfalls, guys, don't forget about this while you're doing this, just like we do in the classroom, transferring that onto our Canvas board, if you will, so that our students are more successful with the assignments that we ask them to do. Any questions that you have for me? I want to make sure that you all get credit for this session. So in order to do that, you'll need to make sure that you register in Nieces. Guys, this will actually close tomorrow. So make sure that you do that today or tomorrow. Just take a second. Yes, I did. That was the Loom video. So let me go back because I may have done that a little too quick, Stephanie. I did embed the Loom video. And for those of you who are trying to get that clarity in Canvas, I'm going to actually slide this out, use my screen real estate so you can have that session code there for those of you who need it. And for those of you who want to see me embed that one more time from Loom, I am going to do that now as well. Oh, sorry. Got trigger happy there. All right, so again, I'm going to go back to my Loom. This was the one that I just finished. And when you finish recording, just like Screencastify, the video pops up. Okay. And when the video popped up, it had copy link, and then there was a share button. When I went to share, I embed. And when I click that embed, it automatically copies it. And I'm actually going to make it a little smaller. Let's see, we're going to do a fixed. So I'm going to copy that. And then I have that embed code. It's on my clipboard. And once I have it on the clipboard, I'm going to go back to my Canvas page. And I'm just going to put it on any page. I'm just going to grab a page. It can be a new page. Stick it on the front page. That's where I put everything else. So I'll edit. And right here at the top, I'm going to put it. Now, how do I do it? Once again, I'm going to zoom in so you can see that where it says insert or edit media. And I'd scroll over, guys. Sorry if you're getting the other code where it says embed. Click on that and I'm pasting my code in. I say, okay. And as soon as I do that, my video is right there for me to watch. All I have to do is save my page. And sometimes it's a little quicker just to even do the video than try to explain it all in text as well. And it's easier for your students to understand. All right, once again, I'm going to put up that Nieces code. If there are any other questions, feel free to ask them. But at this point, that does conclude our professional development for using audio and video to make our instructions more clear. I certainly hope that you've walked away with at least one new nugget or something that you can think of when you're creating your pages in Canvas. Thank you all again.
And thank you so much, Dr. Remser, for your hard work. This is not something you had to do, but let you know, appreciate it. And thank you for everyone else who helped.
Thank you, Mr. Foster.